And before you start watching, subscribe to the channel. Help me get 3,000 subscribers. Have fun. By the mistake of a god, a young man named Kelvin dies and agrees to be reincarnated into a new world with skills he chooses himself in exchange for all memories except his name taken. Awakening in the new world, he finds he chooses to be a summoner mage, and the goddess of reincarnation, Melfina, is now his servant in the form of an interactive game menu. Arriving in the town of Parth, he joins the Adventurers Guild as a basic mage, keeping his summoner skill secret. As Melfina explains, summoners are so rare and powerful, kings and nations would start wars to acquire him. He takes a job to slay slime monsters, which leads to taming a slime and naming it Clotho, which also gives it a distinct personality. He learns from Melfina before reincarnating he made his summoner class rank S, the highest possible, making him the most powerful living summoner. And as he is still only level 1, he will become even more powerful as his level increases. His skill also provides a massive boost to his summons, as Clotho is now 100 times stronger. Returning to Parth, he is disturbed to find slavery is common in this world, but tries not to think about it and instead rents a room for the night. Kelvin is quickly promoted to E rank. D rank adventurer Cashel, who seeks to humiliate Kelvin, advises him to hunt a monster known as a Black Ghost Knight. With his appraisal skill, Kelvin sees Cashel is titled as a murderer, so instead of joining him, he suggests a contest, Kelvin against Cashel's entire party. Cashel and his criminal party members, Gimul and Raj, to murder Kelvin. Kelvin captures Raj while Gimul is captured by Clotho, who is now evolved into a slime Glatonia, an almost demon lord class monster. Cashel is easily beaten up by Kelvin and confesses to hunting low-rank adventurers for experience, so they are arrested. Kelvin locates the Black Ghost Knight, who already has a personality and a name, Gerard. Gerard is able to explain he was once a human knight, became a monster after he died. After a short duel to gauge each other's strength, Gerard abruptly remembers the kingdom he once served, Alcarl, was destroyed by an elf named Gildora when Alcarl would not help the Lizea Empire destroy the Holy Empire of Daramus. This also caused the death of Gerard's wife and daughter, Betty and Connie, the pain of which kept him tied to the world after he died. The next day, Kelvin supplies a piece of Gerard's armor as proof he completed the job, and combined with Cashel's bounty, is promoted directly to B rank. Gerard joins Clotho and Melfina as Kelvin's newest monster. Kelvin meets Guildmaster Leo, who asks if Kelvin came from another world, showing his appraisal skill is more powerful than Kelvin's concealment skill, so he can see he is a summoner. Leo admits he knew Cashel was a murderer, but as Cashel was a foreign noble, he needed proof, so he is grateful to Kelvin. He also reveals other reincarnations were summoned as the current heroes of the Daramus Empire to face a demon lord, so Leo wants Kelvin to instead focus on the monsters who become more powerful due to the demon lord's influence. Kelvin agrees and decides to purchase a female slave to train and add her to his team. He seeks out the slave he saw on his first day, a beautiful half-elf named Eiffel, who so far has not been sold due to a curse she has that burns those she touches. Purchasing her, he breaks her curse, allowing her to touch people for the first time. Returning to his lodgings, Eiffel is taken under the wing of Claire, his landlady, while Kelvin shows her how to use her previously unspent skill points. Kelvin is unable to sleep at night as he is forced to share his bed with Eiffel. Eiffel becomes a deadly archer and gains an affinity for fire due to her previous curse. She also befriends Angie, a guild secretary. Tabura, third prince of Trison, arrogantly confronts and attempts to grab Angie and Eiffel, so Kelvin beats up his guards. Tabura admits he came to Parth to hire a rumored strong adventurer to boost his poor reputation, but Kelvin reveals he is the adventurer and refuses Tabura's offer. Melfina visits the Cathedral of Daramus to impart a prophecy to Oracle Colette, ordering the heroes deal with a threat in the west and to stay away from Parth. Eiffel tells Kelvin she has fallen in love with him, but Kelvin resists his desire as she is still a slave, and he feels he would be taking advantage. Melfina informs Kelvin the 4 heroes are weaker than she was expecting, as Kelvin has almost surpassed them. Leo sends Kelvin to deal with a demon sealed in a cave. Kelvin finds 2 demons, the archdemon Victor, guarding a demon girl named Sarah, daughter to the most recently defeated demon lord Gustav. Victor hopes by eating Kelvin he will gain the human ability to break the seal keeping Sarah trapped. He will then eat Sarah and become the next demon lord himself. Kelvin begins smiling, and Melfina and Gerard reveal to Eiffel. Kelvin has an unfortunate habit. He is a total battle junkie. The more powerful his opponents, the more excited he becomes. Victor attacks, but is weakened by Clotho draining his magic, and his arms are destroyed by Eiffel's arrows and Gerard's sword. Victor assumes his full demonic form, but against their teamwork, he is still defeated. A stone pillar almost falls on Sarah, until Victor saves her. Victor admits he was never going to eat Sarah. In reality, Victor once trained and took care of Sarah when she was young and was assigned to guard her by her father Gustav. Before he was defeated by the hero Gustav, cast a spell on Sarah, sealing her away so only a human could unseal her, and Victor has guarded her ever since. As his dying request, Victor asks Kelvin to add Sarah to his party so she can finally see the world. Kelvin agrees and Victor dies peacefully. Despite the risk she will become the next Demon King, Kelvin frees Sarah and conceals her demon traits. Gerard evolves into an abyssal knight commander. Kelvin reports to Leo and is promoted to rank A for defeating Victor. Angie organizes a celebration on Kelvin's promotion. After everyone passes out drunk, Kelvin finds Sarah mourning for Victor, who was her only childhood companion. She decides to experience the entire world in Victor's memory, in particular to see the ocean and learn to swim like Victor once promised her. Having tamed Sarah, Kelvin crafts her armor from Victor's armor and also a new sword, Dainsleif, for Gerard. Kelvin has a sudden powerful hunger for rice, so they all travel to the water kingdom of Taraj and its capital coastal city, where rice can be found and Sarah can swim in the ocean. Melfina disappears again, claiming she hopes to possess one of her avatars and finally appear in the physical world. Gerard privately suspects Melfina is jealous Kelvin has two other ladies in his party. On the journey, they are attacked by the bandit gang Black Wind, who want Sarah and Ephil for the slave trade. Sarah enjoys defeating them before Kelvin interrogates them. Kelvin informs Toraj guild leader Mist. The Black Wind's secret leader is a famous adventurer from Trison named Christoph, who is secretly involved in the illegal slave trade. For political reasons, they cannot accuse Christoph publicly until Kelvin realizes the four heroes are in town. By his suggestion, Mist formally requests the heroes look into recent kidnappings by the Black Wind. Kelvin locates and frees slaves captured by Black Wind before easily defeating Christoph and his lieutenants. The heroes eventually catch up, but believe Christoph is another adventurer sent to free the slaves, and find Kelvin and his team pretending to be the true leaders of Black Wind. Kelvin finally meets the heroes, sword wielders Tuya and Setsuna, and mages Nana and Miyabi. Kelvin challenges them to a fight against him, with the losing side having to obey one order from the winner. Beginning the duel, Kelvin reveals his new equipment Skill Eater, which are gloves absorbing other people's unique skills, and allow Kelvin to use them. Having already borrowed Sarah's martial combat skill, Kelvin next steals parallel processing from Miyabi. Tuya tries to fight on his own, believing it is his job if he is to defeat the Demon Lord one day, until Setsuna slaps him for risking himself and ignoring his teammates. Tuya apologizes and they fight as a team again. Kelvin thoroughly criticizes their amateur approach and gives them hints on how to improve. The heroes succeed in trapping him in an anti-magic trap, so Kelvin uses parallel processing to invent a new spell and frees himself. All four heroes are defeated, but when they awaken, Kelvin explains he is the one who rescued the slaves and Christoph is the true criminal. The heroes realize Kelvin only fought them to measure their abilities and help them improve, and thank him. Kelvin reminds them they promised to obey one order, so he demands they strip their clothes. Kelvin changes the heroes into swim clothes and takes them to a sea cave to train against a giant octopus. Kelvin notes they almost lost to the octopus, so they stand no chance against a dungeon boss, and the Demon Lord would kill them without effort. Sarah locates a dungeon boss dragon. The heroes decide to fight it, which impresses Kelvin with their resolve, so he gives them a break and defeats the dragon himself. The heroes leave, so Kelvin gives them necklaces he enchanted himself. Kelvin is summoned by the Queen of Toraj, Tsubaki Fujiwara, and realizes from her castle architecture and her family name, one of her ancestors must have been Japanese. She thanks him for defeating Black Wind and the dragon, and is surprised when Kelvin requests only rice, so she rewards him with a lifetime supply and even teaches Ephil Japanese cuisine. Tsubaki attempts to hire Kelvin to work for her personally, but he rejects the offer. In Parth, Kelvin purchases a large house, and also hires two of the slaves he freed from Black Wind, Ellie and her daughter Luca, as household servants. Melfina returns with her avatar body, and Kelvin is able to summon her into the physical world for the first time. Melfina rewards Kelvin with her grace of resurrection, which can save him from any fatal attack once a month, and also allows him to summon a hero from Japan, but this can only be used once in his lifetime. This worries Kelvin, as it would mean forcing someone to come to this world against their will. He shares his worries with Melfina, who explains the demon lords all possesses the skill Papias, which causes insanity and makes them invulnerable to all damage. Thus, the only ones who can kill them are summoned heroes. Since they come from other worlds, their magic is fundamentally different. Kelvin still feels guilty, so Melfina tells him to only summon people who have already died, so it would feel less like kidnap and more like a second chance. Feeling better, Kelvin decides to reincarnate a hero immediately. Casting the spell, Kelvin summons a young girl named Rio, the strongest hero from all of Japan. Rio, who had been terminally ill in Japan, is grateful to be reincarnated in a healthy body and accepts Kelvin's offer to join his party so she can repay him. As she is the only other person Kelvin has seen with black hair, he decides Rio should pose as his younger half-sister. Rio also decides to change her name to Ryan. Kelvin awakens and finds Sarah, Melfina, and Ryan have all snuck into his bed. Kelvin decides for their own safety, Ryan, Ellie, and Luca should level up. So with his XP sharing skill, he increases their levels without them having to fight. He also tames a shadow wolf as a pet for Ryan, and she names Alex. Uld, another adventurer, joins them in a dungeon with his party who are slaying monsters for their promotion exam to rank B. Unfortunately, Sarah and Gerard already slew all the monsters. Kelvin learns Guildmaster Leo has put him forward for a promotion exam to rank S. Over several weeks, Ryan trains until she is a capable fighter. One night, 14 assassins enter Kelvin's lands, and Kelvin lets Ryan and Alex fight them as a test. The assassins, former teammates of Kristoff, seek revenge against Kelvin, but are all defeated by Rian while Kelvin captures their leader. Elsewhere, the Emperor of Tryson is disappointed at Kristoff's failure, as his exposure is an international embarrassment to Tryson, especially with the kingdoms of Gon, Toraj, and Daramis considering forming an alliance against them. Prince Asgrad and General Tristan vote to go to war immediately. General Dan and Princess Shutola vote to wait for better conditions in which to start a war. The tiebreak vote is left to General Clive, who is absent due to indulging his hedonistic appetite. Leo informs Kelvin Tryson has been increasing aggression against Gon Kingdom. Coincidentally, he sends Kelvin on his rank S promotion exam to complete a job for Leon Hart Gon, Beast King of Gon, by slaying a rank S monster to save an elven village. Elven Chief Nelras mistakes Eiffel for his own daughter, Lumil, but realizes his mistake. Kelvin is curious about Lumil, and Nelras explains 20 years ago, Lumil offered herself as sacrifice to save the village from a dragon. The dragon took her as his wife, but years later Lumil was found dead, and fearing the dragon's return, the elves fled to Gon. Kelvin suspects Lumil was Eiffel's mother, though her human father remains unknown, as pregnancy between the dragon and Lumil would be impossible. Nelras reveals the monster has been kidnapping elves, so Kelvin erects a stone barrier around the village. Tryson's soldiers invade with monsters somehow under their command, but are killed by Eiffel using extremely long-range archery magic. Their commander avoids capture by controlling the rank S monster, a Gigant Lord. The Gigant is defeated by Ryan and Alex, only to transform into a flaming gigant furnace. Ryan defeats it again anyway and captures the commander. General Clive appears and almost kills Eiffel, who is saved by Kelvin. Kelvin realizes Clive is strong and feels his battle junkie instincts rising. Clive tries to hypnotize Eiffel into becoming his sex slave, but Kelvin defends her. He realizes Clive is also a reincarnation with a unique hypnosis skill. Clive brags his hypnosis lets him do whatever he wants to anybody for his personal amusement. Angered by Clive's arrogance, Kelvin manages to scar his face, infuriating Clive, who summons a rank S hurricane spell. Kelvin is forced to use his most powerful magic staff, the rank S Black Disaster. He cuts through Clive's spell and severs both Clive's legs. Clive is rescued by General Tristan, who teleports them both away. The elves celebrate, but Kelvin is disappointed the fight was a draw. Tristan has Clive imprisoned and puts his own sex slaves in charge of torturing him for experimentation to see if reincarnations have any scientific value. Kelvin decides he must grow his power even further. Nelras gives Eiffel a hair ornament belonging to Lumil. An elven girl reveals she is actually a disguised Leonhardt Gon, and having seen everything, confirms Kelvin is now promoted to S rank. There will be an official promotion ceremony which includes a mock battle against existing S rank adventurers. Everyone is exasperated when the idea of fighting other S-rank warriors ignites Kelvin's battle junkie instincts again.
Masato Osuki fills out a questionnaire claiming to have a very average relationship with his mother, Mamako. Masumi Shirace, from the cabinet office, informs Masato he is to start a new life inside a video game. However, after entering the fantasy world, Mamako is transported alongside him. The teleportation king registers them as normal hero and normal hero's mother, and explains they were selected based on Masato's questionnaire and have been transported inside the game via unexplained technology. Masato is allowed to choose a sword and he selects Firmament, Holy Sword of the Great Heavens, while Mamako grabs two swords, Terra de Madre, Holy Sword of Mother Earth, and Altura, Holy Sword of Mother Ocean, planning to use them as kitchen knives. It becomes clear Mamako is more powerful than Masato, and she admits Shirace sent her with him for a secret reason. They begin in the Kingdom of Mammalia at the Adventurers Guild, where the desk assistant, Shirace, looks and acts uncannily like Shirace from the cabinet office. When Masato recruits 3 girls, Mamako decides she must interview them to see which will be a suitable future bride. Mamako rejects the girls Masato chose. Instead, she recruits Porta, a merchant and craftswoman. Masato then tries to reject Wise, a sage with healing and combat magic and a difficult personality, so she teleports them away to punish him. Wise reveals the game is an Momorp, or Mother's massively maternal multiplayer make-up with offspring role-playing game, the point of which is to improve the mother-slash-child relationship in order to return home. Wise explains her relationship with her mother is so bad they split up, and she wants Mamako to adopt her instead. Shirace teaches Mamako a skill to locate Masato, after which Wise is thrown in jail. Mamako promises to help Wise and her mother reconcile. They decide to conquer a dungeon, but get lost in the dark, and Mamako unlocks a mom's skill, Mother's Light, allowing them to see. She defeats several slimes, leveling herself up, but with her clothes dissolved. Despite being naked, Mamako defeats the slimes, revealing a coffin with another Shirace inside it. After Wise revives her, she reveals she is Shirace, the mysterious nun, and gives them a new quest. To prepare for their quest, the party shops for equipment. Masato becomes frustrated with Mamako and snaps at her, but immediately feels guilty where Mamako forgives him. At Memen Village, the chief explains the Empress of Night has demanded an attractive man and asks Masato to defeat her. Masato enjoys a hot spring, only to be joined by Mamako, Porta, and Wise, who reveals she has knowledge of the Empress. Meanwhile, Shirace informs the Empress she has broken too many rules. However, the Empress kills Shirace. Wise tells Masato she will face the Empress alone, and Masato, still naked from the hot spring, tries to stop her. Wise admits the Empress is her selfish mother who forced her to enter the game, then abandoned her after she realized she could use her magic to establish a new life in the game with money and young men. Wise claims to no longer care, but Mamako knows she is lying and proves it by hugging Wise, who admits the hug feels weird as it did not come from her mother. The party revives Shirace, who reveals the Empress, real name Kazuno, is suspected of cheating. Shirace offers to waive the fine if Wise can repair their relationship. Kazuno immediately starts a fight where she summons a white room. Masato realizes she is using a hacking tool. Kazuno reveals she plans to use it in the real world to hack her way to riches and power. Kazuno then refuses to listen to Wise as she is still angry. Mamako suddenly breaks into the room. Realizing Kazuno is a sage like Wise, Masato uses one of Porta's tools to seal Kazuno's magic. Kazuno is overwhelmed and defeated, though Wise catches her before she hits the ground, begging for them to reconcile. Kazuno transforms back to her true form, only to immediately begin arguing with Wise. Shirace accepts this as them reconciling and clearing the game, allowing Kazuno to log out. However, Wise opts to stay with Masato, claiming she want to help the party for fun. The real-world Shirace contacts them with a new quest to fix the problems the software writers cannot. Mamako is happy she can have normal conversations with Masato again. Masato decides to join the Lover's Lane Academy for experience. There, he meets fellow student and mage Medi and her controlling mother Medhima, who constantly brags about Medi's abilities. Medhima insists on joining the lesson to ensure Medi remains the strongest student. Experience points are given for correct answers, but everyone is sabotaged by Medhima. Medhima claims to be the greatest parent in the world by sabotaging others. Masato notices Medi does not seem to agree with this. Mamako disguises herself as a student and infiltrates the school with Shirace, the principal, who wants them to fix the bugs in the academy software, since the academy was constructed hastily. Mamako observes the next class with Medhima, who is surprised Mamako worries more about her child making friends than acing the class. Medi finds finds Mamako amusing, embarrassing Masato. Medhima tries to sabotage the class again, but Mamako's mother's sharing skill cancels her sabotage spells. Medi finds her mother's failure amusing. Mamako ends up answering all the questions herself and comes top of the class, with Medi in second, while Masato, Wise, and Porta come in joint last place, but Mamako praises their effort anyway. Masato has developed a crush on Medi. Meanwhile, Medhima begins a one-sided rivalry with Mamako. Masato notices Medi making quiet negative comments about Medhima. Their first lesson is cookery, which Medi manages to do well at due to Medhima's cheating. Mamako also does well but with normal cookery, and her food is so good Masato, Wise, and Porta get skill boosts and experience points from eating it. Medi congratulates them, but Medhima is furious. In swimming class, Medhima appears in a scandalous bikini, but is easily outdone by Mamako in a school swimsuit, infuriating her even further. In the pool, warriors like Wise and Masato are told to defeat sea monsters, while crafters like Porta collect the drop items. Mamako shouts encouragement, while Medhima shouts criticism. Medi loses her self-confidence and gives up, so a monster grabs Mamako, who beats it with her Mother Ocean Sword, allowing Masato to kill it. Masato wins first place and is bear-hugged by Mamako, while Medhima slaps Medi for failing. Masato tries to comfort her, but she runs away, and Masato and Mamako later see Medi furiously kicking a wall, swearing and wishing Medhima was dead. The academy announces a festival which the students must plan with their parents for experience points. Mamako suggests a cafe, so Medhima plans her own cafe to compete with them. Medi later approaches Masato to apologize for her mother's behavior. Mamako's cafe is an immediate success while Medhima's is ignored. To attract customers, she strips Medi naked, but when Masato sees this, Medhima kills him. He becomes a ghost and overhears Medhima order Medi to seduce him and ruin Mamako's cafe. Once revived, Masato angrily confronts Medhima, who demands they compete in a waitress beauty contest. Medi defeats Wise in the contest, but Mamako goes on stage to speak to Wise and accidentally defeats Medi. Masato flees with Medi so Medhima cannot punish her. Medi admits she just wants to have fun, but she has no friends because of Medhima. Masato, Wise, and Porta decide to be her friends. Seeing this, Medhima attacks Medi, calling her a terrible excuse for a daughter, but Mamako stops her. Medhima admits she only pushes Medi to be the best because it allows her to claim she is the best mother. Hearing this admission, Medi unleashes her rage and transforms into a dragon. Medhima tries to blame Masato and attacks him, but Mamako stops her. Medi drains all Wise's magic and argues with Masato over him having a wonderful mother. Mamako uses another skill, Mother's Words, to communicate to Medhima. Realizing she has been selfish, Medhima tries to apologize, but Medi attacks her. Medi then steals Medhima's staff and encases herself in a protective shell. Once Mamako breaks the staff, Medi transforms back into a human. Medhima catches her and they reconcile. Masato realizes Medhima's staff amplifies its wielder's feelings. At the academy's graduation party, Medhima decides to log out, but Medi decides to stay and become the party's healer, much to Wise's chagrin. Shirace, the mysterious nun, arrives with the tool prizes for graduating, only to reveal they must wager the experience they gained in classes for spins on a roulette wheel to maybe win the tools. Masato and Wise waste all their experience but only win health and magic potions. As a bonus for reconciling Medi and her mother, Shirace gives Masato a bonus spin, and he wins Mamako a new mother's apron, which he decides he can live with. Medi quickly realizes there is not much to do in Masato's party. Masato finds a flyer for a new tower dungeon with a single wish as its final prize and decides to invade it. However, upon arriving in the area, Masato finds it full of angry mothers. They locate Shirace in a nearby coffin. She informs them she has no knowledge of the tower and she suspects someone is sabotaging the game. Upon entering the tower's first few floors, they meet Amante, a member of an anti-mother party called Ribble. Deciding they cannot let delinquents get their hands on the wish, Masato decides to defeat Ribble and return the members to their parents. However, to be strong enough to beat the tower, Shirace suggests forming a guild. They take over an old guild hall, which Mamako names the With Mommy Guild. Masato, Medi, and Porta go shopping for building materials to repair the guild, only to see Amante shopping as well. She attempts to insult them, but Medi unleashes her dark side, so Amante admits she sent an assassin to their new guild. Wise suddenly teleports in to tell Masato Mamako is in danger. Masato rushes back to the guild, only to find Mamako about to hand over all their money to a disguised assassin. The assassin assassin flees, leaving a bomb, but Mamako disarms the bomb with the skill mother's head pat. Amante appears demanding to know why her bomb did not explode, but flees after seeing Mamako. The assassin and his team reveal they planted bombs around the city and will set them off unless the girls serve them as maids. However, their interaction with Mamako reminds them of their mothers. In the end, they agree to remove the bombs and apologize to their mothers. Mamako insists everyone share a hot spring to decide their next move, but Amante bursts in, furious at losing her assassins. However, she becomes embarrassed at the girls bathing naked with Masato. Shirace arrives at the guild with all the mothers who volunteered to join their guild and clear the tower, as thanks for returning 3 of their sons. Amante plants bombs in the tower to kill them all, but grows frustrated when the mothers are late and accidentally blows herself up by falling down the stairs. The party finally makes it inside the tower. They climb the rubble made by Amante's explosion and make it to the next floor, annoying Amante. She teleports to another floor and sets a trap to electrocute anyone using metal weapons, but electrocutes herself by accident. A thoroughly disheveled and frustrated Amante challenges Mamako to a competition to prove she doesn't need a mother. Mamako easily wins both a dishwashing and laundry competition, so Amante flees again. On the 90th floor, they run into a trap that strips their armor, leaving everyone in their underwear, except the mothers, while Masato is mortified at seeing Mamako in her underwear. Amante, likewise in her underwear, reveals she transformed all the children into monsters and amplified their anger to make them attack their mothers. Medi and Wise confuse the monsters with magic, while Mamako activates her skill Full Mom, or clothing the mothers in armor to find out why their children are unhappy without taking damage. With the children reconciled with their mothers and returned to normal, the assassin reveals the wish Amante wants granted is to get rid of all mothers. The party rushes to the 100th floor and are separated from each other. Masato is attacked by fake Mamakos, but is saved by the real one. They then reunite with Wise, Medi, and Porta. Amante defeats the boss and decides to defeat Mamako as well. She reveals her constant rejection of mothers unlocked a disobedience skill that reflects all magical attacks. She then points out that Masato has been unable to experience the adventures and romance he wanted. Masato admits that while this is true, he wants to continue adventuring with Mamako. Amante claims she hates all mothers, so Mamako uses a higher skill. Mother says no, injuring but not defeating her. Amante rushes to claim the wish, so Masato blurts out something Mamako wished for: fresh eggs. Amante is denied her wish and flees. Later, Shirace reveals Amante dropped a dark crystal identical to crystals used to corrupt Wise and Medi's mothers. She also reveals Ribble is made up of 4 fiends, and with Amante defeated, there are 3 more fiends to defeat, which she makes their next quest. Masato admits it is no longer just his adventure, it is his and Mamako's. Don't forget to write comments because you can be in the next video. Right, I want to be in the video and you will definitely get in. Thanks for watching.
The scene flashes back to when Kazuna was summoned to Strategic Defense Academy Ataraxia by his domineering sister Reincarnated. He met Ain, who was quite rude to him. They hear an air raid siren and she strips to her pilot suit and shouts "Zero," and her HHG encases her. She grabs a massive weapon from a hidden cache and takes off to fight the Magitech invaders while the Ataraxia Megafloat defense systems are activated. Ain exhausts her power during the battle and falls. Kazuna shouts "Arrows" and converts to his HHG mode and catches her. His sister then orders him to massage Ain to recharge her. Reluctantly he does, and she achieves hybrid heart and defeats all the invaders alone. Reincarnated, commander of Ataraxia, is satisfied with the result of hybrid heart test using her brother Kazuna. Reincarnated, commander of Ataraxia, describes the first world collision of 15 years ago when the aliens emerged from a tears in the fabric of reality from another dimension. The Earth's defenses were ineffective, but after 2 weeks, the aliens left and the tears closed. 6 months ago, the aliens reappeared in the second world collision. In the intervening period, Earth developed the heart hybrid gear, and Kazuna is a key component in this strategy. Ain, Heiru and then go to his room and demand that he hybrid heart. They are all interrupted by Sylvia Silkcut, who takes Kazuna on a tour of the facility, during which the commander makes him a captain and explains his purpose, providing hybrid heart to the female Amaterasu. Kazuna, Ain, Heiru and Euryshiya are sent on a mission to a nearby island. While Kazuna explores with Euryshiya, a tear opens and a Magitex attack them and seals Ain and Heiru in a dome. Euryshiya defeats the Magitex, but as she runs out of power, she is confronted by a Draggery, a Category A Magitech. Kazuna hybrid hearts with her, and recharged, she destroys all of the Magitechs. Later, the girls again argue over Kazuna. Euryshiya tries to get Kazuna interested in her, and convinces him to spend the day exploring the Mega Float with her. That evening he encounters Hayoru, who talks about her ambitions. She falls, and when he catches her, she has an instant hybrid heart. He also meets Ain and learns more about her. She wants to hybrid heart to compete against the other girls, but Kazuna cannot do it mechanically. Later, Reiri tells him about Ain, who as a little girl was found lost with amnesia. She was taken in and trained but without knowing about her past. Reiri also reveals they have recently discovered that if an Amaterasu's hybrid counts drops to 0, they will die, which is why Kazuna is an essential part of Defense Academy's strategy. When she was young, Commander Reiri reveals to Ain that her hybrid gear contains an immoral weapon. An enemy fleet approaches Ataraxia and the Amaterasu attack the flagship, but they waste energy fighting the Magitechs. Ain arrives at the flagship first but is shot down as her energy levels are too low. Kazuna rescues her and returns her to base. She is despondent as she sees her only value as a fighter, without a past or connections to people. Kazuna consoles her and tries to raise her self-confidence and agrees to hybrid heart with her. Lab Director Kei Shikina advises him via a communications link that if he continues, Ain may achieve the climax hybrid and acquire the immoral weapon. They proceed and are successful. Kazuna and Ain rejoin the battle. He now has increased power and she has the immoral weapon, which she uses to completely destroy the enemy fleet. Later, Ain tells Kazuna that during her climax hybrid she recovered some of her childhood memories, and wants to do it again. Kei Shikina believes she saw a human with the aliens' attack fleet. In the past, Hayoru helps people evacuate Japan for a megafloat. Kazuna is offered free use of the academy baths, but finds Hayoru Himikawa there to both their embarrassment. Commander Reiri later tells them that she arranged the encounter to further their relationship and raise Hayoru's hybrid count. Commander Reiri introduces a new simulator room to Kazuna, not for mock battles with Magitechs, but to facilitate hybrid heart activities. Kazuna evaluates the simulator successfully with Euryshiya. Meanwhile, although all communications between the megafloats is broken, they receive a weak signal from Guam. Kazuna, Ain, Euryshiya, and Hayoru are sent to Guam to investigate. They find devastation, but Kazuna and Hayoru find a woman called Aldea with heart hybrid gear who claims to represent the Empire of Batlantis in the other dimension. She overpowers them and calls on a powerful three-headed dragon Magitech from the other dimension to destroy them. Rather than suffer defeat, Kazuna orders the team to retreat. The Amaterasu report on their mission to Guam, finding Aldea with her ability to warp space and the tri-head dragon. That night, Hayoru returns alone to confront Aldea, but is easily defeated. The other Amaterasu go to her aid, but Aldea recalls the tri-head Magitech. When Aldea learns Ain's HHG name, Zeros, she seems to recognize her. Commander Reiri then arrives and drops the simulator room for Kazuna to revive the powerless Hayoru. Hayoru admits her inadequacies, and how she failed to protect the people she evacuated from Japan. Kazuna offers to hybrid heart with her and she achieves climax hybrid. She emerges fully recharged and destroys the tri-head. Aldea attacks them all, but when she fires at Kazuna he responds by materializing a sword for the first time. When Aldea opens the portal for reinforcements, she is recalled and they retreat just as the Amaterasu from the Megafloat West USA arrive. Ain and Euryshiya realize that prudish Hayoru reached climax hybrid with Kazuna. Ain has a dream where she meets a different version of herself. In the alien dimension, Aldea is questioned by General Grabble about her sighting of Ain with the Zeros HHG on Lemuria, their name for Earth. Commander Reiri receives data that enables Ataraxia to seal the entrances to the alien dimension. The USA Amaterasu led by Scarlet Fairchild, with Gertrude Baird and Sharon Cunningham, join the Strategic Defense Academy Ataraxia as part of a joint operation. When Scarlet approaches Kazuna about his powers, this angers Euryshiya and they compete for his attention. Scarlet tells of how Euryshiya used her to fight a Draggery, then took the credit for the victory. Grabble lands on Ataraxia alone, demanding the return of HHG Zeros and its Magitech Knight, Ain. When the Ataraxia forces refuse and attack her, she defeats them all, including Gertrude and Sharon, using her Zoro's HHG. The Amaterasu arrive and attack her, but she is too powerful and defeats them all. Grabble gives Ain a chance to leave with her, but Ain does not recognize her. Grabble is now low on power and departs without Ain, vowing to return for her. 1 week later, and Commander Reiri realizes that they must defeat Grabble, but need a new connective hybrid to do it, a combination of the Eros HHG and 2 others. Kazuna suggests Euryshiya and Scarlet. The 3 of them take a bath together and it gets steamy. They watch old video footage of Euryshiya and Scarlet when they fought together, which rekindles the girls' friendship. The 3 then achieve a climax hybrid together, the connective hybrid. Meanwhile, Ain has entered the alien dimension and questions Grabble about her origins, but just then, the 3 Amaterasu appear. Euryshiya and Scarlet take on Grabble and Aldea with their increased firepower, but although Aldea is defeated, Grabble is too strong. Kazuna then attacks Grabble with his immoral weapon, but they are evenly matched until Kazuna adds in the weapons of Euryscia and Scarlet, the connective hybrid, and defeats her. Grabble departs with Aldea and strategic defense seals the portal entrances. Ain is left wondering who she really is. The Amaterasu have now liberated Guam and Okinawa and are drifting towards the Japan mainland and plan to recapture Tokyo. Kazuna explains to the male pupils the process of heart hybrids but is dramatically interrupted by an angry and embarrassed Heiuru. Ain is missing, but Kazuna appears to be the only one concerned as everyone prepares for the Academy Festa. In the alien dimension, Zelchion interrogates and punishes Grabble for acting alone and not sharing information about the HHG Eros. Aldea's will has been broken and she has become Zelchion's pet. Kazuna eventually finds Ain, who is afraid of retrieving more of her past memories. Kazuna overcomes her fears and heart hybrids with her, but she is frightened by seeing visions of the alien dimension. All activities are interrupted by the appearance of an enemy fleet and the Amaterasu go to confront it. Kazuna recognizes his mother, Nayuta Hida, standing on the deck of a Batlantis battleship. Kazuna meets a hologram of his mother, Nayuta, on the Batlantis battleship and she explains that she left to conduct research on Batlantis. She disappears and the Amaterasu are confronted by Ragras and her giant Magitech armor, Demon. Zelchion withdraws the battleship instead of attacking. As part of her plan to retake Tokyo, Reiri asks Kazuna to invite Sylvia Silkcut to join the Amaterasu. She agrees and he inserts a core into her. The Ataraxia Academy detaches from the Megafloat system to head for Tokyo but are immediately attacked by Viking-type Magitech weapons. Meanwhile, the Amaterasu leave Ataraxia for Tokyo. Kazuna lands first to create a diversion, however instead of devastation, he finds people going about their normal daily lives. Nayuta explains to Kazuna that the vision of a normal Tokyo he sees is an illusion which she maintains so that the people's energy can be harvested, converted to magical energy and sent to Batlantis. She plans to expand the system across Japan, then the world. Horrified that this means the death of all humans and the Amaterasu, Kazuna attacks her, but he and the Amaterasu are engaged by Ragras and the Batlantis battle units. Ragras and her giant Magitech armor, Demon, are too strong and she defeats the Amaterasu, but at the last moment they are saved by Sylvia and her heart hybrid gear, Taros. They engage in a titanic battle and Sylvia defeats Ragras, who then angrily explodes Demon, creating a huge fireball that threatens to engulf the whole Kanto region. Sylvia then releases her immoral weapon, Titania, which completely absorbs the energy fireball. With their energy depleted, Reiri dispatches a ballistic-type bullet love room so that Kazuna can replenish the Amaterasu. Kazuna hybrid hearts with Heiuru first, and then Ain wants to climax hybrid so that she can access her forbidden weapon and turn the tide of the battle. Kazuna creates the illusion of a full classroom in the bullet love room for Ain, which heightens her excitement as they hybrid heart. Outside, Heiuru and Euryscia face Zelchion, captain of the Batlantis Empire's royal guards. As Ain is about to acquire her immoral weapon, she fears the power and fails to climax hybrid. When they emerge they find Heiuru, Euryscia, and Sylvia unconscious and their minds filled with painful memories created by Zelchion. Zelchion starts to probe Ain's mind to find how she acquired the Zero's core. Angered at her callous attitude, Kazuna attacks Zelchion with his Eros core but is not strong enough. His plight awakens the other Amaterasu who provide him with the power to challenge Zelchion, but it is not enough to defeat her. Zelchion forces Ain to attack Kazuna, but at the last moment, Ain awakens and releases the forbidden weapon, defeating Zelchion, the Magitech fighters, and closes the portal to the Batlantis dimension. After the Amaterasu watch the portal close, Grace Synclavia, Empress of the Batlantis Empire, appears and says she finally located her long-lost sister, Ain. God apologizes to Tuya Mochizuki for accidentally killing him with lightning and offers to resurrect him in the new world. Tuya agrees on condition that he can bring a smartphone that can still connect to Earth's internet and be recharged with magic. God also boosts Tuya's stamina, reflexes, and memory skills. In the new world, Tuya sells his clothes to an eager tailor in exchange for ones that will allow him to blend in, and saves the twin sisters Els and Linza Siluesca from several thugs whom he easily defeat. They then check into the Silver Moon Inn where Micah, the owner, mistakenly believes Tuya is El's boyfriend, but the latter quickly denies it. Afterwards, the trio form a party taking on paid quests, with the Siluescas teaching Tuya how to read the world's language and use magic. Unlike most magicians who can only use one or two, and some like Linza who can use 3, Tuya becomes capable of using every type of magic, making him immensely powerful. Later on, Tuya arrives at a cafe called Parent where he helps Air, the cafe's owner, find a recipe to make some delicious ice cream. Tuya and the Siluescas help a samurai named Yekokono fight off several thugs, and after providing her a meal, invite her to join their party, whilst Tuya continues to learn as many magic spells as he can, including null magic which has a variety of uses. While heading to the royal capital to deliver a letter, the group are ambushed by some lizards summoned by a dark magician intending to attack a royal carriage. As the group defeat the lizards along with the magician, Tuya enters the carriage where he casts a null healing spell, saving a butler named Leem from his death. Lady Sushi, Sue, Ernia Ortlind, who was also in the carriage and whom the magician tried to kidnap, thanks Tuya for saving Leem, and altogether, the group head to the royal capital where Sue brings Tuya to her father, Duke Alfred Ortlind. The Duke thanks Tuya for protecting his daughter, but reveals that Duchess Ellen Ortlind, Sue's mother and the Duke's wife, was blinded from an illness and requests a healing spell powerful enough to cure the Duchess's blindness. Tuya agrees and casts a null healing spell on the Duchess, curing her blindness. The Duke gives Tuya 40 platinum coins, worth around 40 million yen, as gratitude for saving his family, as well as 4 royal medals, which represent Tuya, Ye, and the Siluescas now under the Duke's protection. After delivering the letter, Ye agrees to join the party. Tuya discovers demi-human races at the royal capital, such as elves and beastmen, and helps a lost fox girl named Arma find her older sister, Olga. As Tuya and the girls go shopping, Tuya buys a magician's coat that protects magicians against magic they can use but makes them weaker against magic they can't use. Later on, Tuya casts a null crafting spell turning a tree trunk into a shogi board at the behest of a woodcutter, which Tuya brings to the Duke and teaches him how to play. The next day, Tuya and the girls accept a quest to destroy a Dullahan near the ruins of the old capital city. After the Dullahan was defeated, Tuya uses a null locating spell and finds an item of magical value hidden in a secret dungeon. The item later turns out to be the energy source for an artificial crystal beast that can repair any damage done to it. Els is wounded during the fight, but Tuya heals her. The group manage to defeat the beast after Tuya extracts the energy source. The group return to the royal capital where they tell the Duke what really happened, and the Duke suspects that the beast may have been the reason why the old capital was abandoned and asks Tuya to help him in an investigation the next day. Later on, Tuya is contacted by the Duke, who reveals that his brother, the king of the royal capital, has been poisoned. En route to the royal capital, the Duke becomes concerned and tells Tuya that the king's eldest daughter, Princess Yamina Ernia Belfast, may succeed his throne if he dies. Tuya and the Duke arrive at the capital where Tuya casts a null healing spell, curing the king's poison. His unique abilities draw the interest of Charlotte, the family's mage. Yamina quickly begins to fall for Tuya. Balsa, a count working for the capital, claims the poisoner is the capital's ambassador, who later turns out to be Olga, and has been accused of sending poison wine to the king. After using a search spell to verify that no poison was detected in the wine, Tuya decides to reenact the banquet at which the king was poisoned, and after asking General Leon and Balsa to drink from the king's glass, determines that Balsa poisoned the wine in just the king's glass, and framed Olga by claiming that she sent the king poisoned bottled wine. Balsa unsuccessfully tries to escape. With Olga acquitted and Balsa arrested, the king agrees to let Yamina embark on a 2-year engagement with Tuya, hoping it would give Yamina time to win his heart and Tuya time to decide to marry Yamina. After the royal visit, Yamina joins the party and teaches Tuya how to summon magic, during which Tuya summons a powerful tiger spirit called the White Monarch, whom he forges a pact with and renames her as Kahaku. Tuya accepts a quest to go to an abandoned castle to investigate a deceased magician's research on slime beasts, but the girls are reluctant to aid Tuya due to their concern that slimes dissolve clothing. At the castle, the group encounter numerous slimes and discover that the magician had created a slime capable of transforming into models of beautiful girls. After Tuya saves the girls from being caught by the slimes, who damage their clothes, forcing them to wear white sheets, the group decide to burn the castle down, destroying the magician's research. Later on, Tuya helps Ye bring a lost girl to her mother by activating a null search spell on Tuya's phone. In turn, Ye requests Tuya to locate her older brother, who is safe at a dojo, much to Ye's joy. Meanwhile, Tuya helps Linza learn a new water bomb spell. He then goes shopping with Els, and buys a dress she admires. As the girls request Tuya to do the same thing to them, Yamina receives a letter from the royal capital offering Tuya's knighthood as thanks for finding the culprit behind the king's poisoning. After Tuya declines the knighthood offer, the king decides to let Tuya and Yamina take ownership of a large mansion instead. To Els, Linza and Ye's surprise, Tuya wants them to live there as well. He explains he sees them like family, accidentally implying he wants to marry them as well. Yamina also mistakes his words, managing to get the girls to calm down and accept the offer. Staff is also hired to watch over the mansion, including Liam's older brother Lame and 2 maids, Lapis and Cecile. Later on, Sue and the Duke arrive at the mansion, where the Duke requests Tuya to make a trip to the kingdom of Miss Mead following their alliance. Tuya notices a knight named Sir Lion having a crush on Olga, and later helps him choose a gift Olga likes at Arma's behest. Later that night, a nearby town was attacked by a black dragon, whom Tuya and the girls later defeat. A red dragon appears and apologizes to the group for not getting there in time to stop the black dragon. Kahaku tells the dragon to let the Azure Monarch, presumably the Dragon King, maintain better control of the dragons. The next day, Tuya falls asleep and later finds himself in Yumina's lap. Yamaina challenges and beats the girls in a game of rock-paper-scissors over the chance to have Tuya sleep on them. Tuya's party arrive at Miss Mead's capital and attend an audience with the king. During the audience, the king asks Tuya to duel with him. During the duel, the king reveals his own null magic, Excel, that gives him enhanced speed, which Tuya learns to use, and by combining both Excel and Boost, defeats him. That night, Tuya has an encounter with a fairy named Lean, who is more than 600 years old, who then teaches Tuya the program spell that infuses objects with predetermined magical properties. After Tuya demonstrates his own program skill, Lean, who was impressed with Tuya's skill, offers to teach him more magic, but he declines. The next day, Tuya, accompanied by Linza and Yamaina, buys some materials to create a pistol sword using program to infuse it with auto-reload and blade extending features. Both girls ask him to create firearms for them, which he does. On their way back, Tuya realizes that they are being followed and briefly separates from Linza and Yamaina to confront their stalkers, who are revealed to be Lapis and Cecile, who are spies sent by the king to watch and protect Yamaina. They are also the ones who secretly helped them against the dragon. At their request, Tuya promises to keep it a secret from the others, while Lean decides that she is not giving up on Tuya so easily. Later at night, Tuya opens a portal to Belfast, allowing both kings to have their meet with each other. After returning from Miss Mead and going into the bathroom at the wrong time, Tuya uses his powers to create a bicycle for himself, but when the girls and Duke Alfred show interest in it, he ends up making enough for all of them to ride. Sometime later, Tuya goes to the city to buy some supplies when he finds a little girl named Ren being beaten by some thugs for stealing in their territory. After dealing with the attackers, Tuya invites Ren to work as a maid in his mansion and she accepts, promising that she will not steal again. Later on, Lean appears at the mansion and asks for Tuya's help, as she needs him to open a gate to Ye's homeland, Ishan, for her to travel there. However, Tuya cannot open gates to places he has not seen yet, and Lean teaches him another null spell that allows him to access Ye's memories of Ishan, allowing him to open a gate there. Ye then travels along with Tuya and the others back to her homeland. Tuya and gang arrive and go to Ye's house where they were told that her father and brother are fighting in a war. Using Tuya's abilities, they quickly find both and Tuya helps by defeating the undead Oni masked soldiers. After being thanked by Tokugawa, Tsubaki comes out from the shadows and asks for help to save the Takedas as Kansuke had betrayed Shingen. Tuya agrees with Lean following. After arriving, they free 3 other generals and save Shingen, who was under the control of Kansuke's eye, which is then stolen using a port and broken. This leads to Kansuke dying. After helping the Takeda family, Baba helps Tuya by using Recall and Gate to let Tuya go to an island near the ancient ruins that Lean was looking for. After using Gate to travel to an island near the ancient ruins, Tuya invites all of his friends for a day of swimming at the beach, and creates a changing tent for the girls to change into their swimsuits. During this, Tuya tries to go diving towards the ancient ruins, but it is too far without him drowning in the process. Kahaku then helps Tuya summon Black Emperor, who is composed of a snake and a turtle. They become bonded to Tuya, who names them Sango, turtle, and Koku, snake. They help Tuya reach the ancient ruins where they are soon met by a maid in the Garden of Babylon. After meeting Francesca, the artificial maid in the Garden of Babylon, Tuya is named the new owner of the garden. Later, he uses a gate to bring the others, and upon seeing Francesca, the girls become suspicious of Tuya and jealous. Yamaina then takes the girls on a walk to discuss the same topic she broached the first day the gang moved into Tuya's mansion, that the girls love Tuya as much as she does and for them to become his brides as well, to which they all nervously agree. Later, Francesca kisses Tuya, simply as a means of sampling his DNA through his saliva, shocking the girls. However, Francesca's actions cause Linza to muster the courage to confess her true feelings for Tuya, telling him that she loves him, and then Linza proceeds to kiss Tuya in front of everyone as well, shocking the girls even more. Tuya and the gang arrive back at the mansion with Francesca. Afterwards, Yamaina helps Linza become one of Tuya's brides, as her country allows multiple marriages. The next morning comes with Ye and Els also becoming Tuya's brides. With this, Tuya goes to the garden where he talks to Regina Babylon, the professor who made Babylon. After this, Tuya seeks help with his love interests with Kami and the goddess of love. Tuya then returns to the mansion and tells his brides that he is not ready to marry all of them, as he doesn't think he is capable of making them all happy yet, which the girls come to understand. Lean talks with Francesca, who informs her that Dr. Babylon foresaw Tuya having 9 wives, though omits Lean herself will be one. In a post-credit scene, Tuya is shown walking through town before running into a stranger named Endi. Thanks for watching. Part 2 is coming out soon, so subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out.